Hey guys, it's Bart Johnson here. Today I want to share with you a cool little piece of equipment that I've been using over the past couple of months that has actually made some of my video production and especially my YouTube work a lot easier. Now, I guess I'm now what you would consider a YouTuber, which means that I usually operate by myself, meaning I'm running a camera here in my little home office turned into a studio. It's set up beforehand. There's nobody behind the camera. I'm using monitors over here to my side and above the camera in order to make sure that everything's framed up and looking right. But one thing I've always wished that I could do is after I get everything all set up, I wish I could start and stop my camera from my seat so that I don't have to walk over to the camera and risk messing up my framing and everything when I come back in, or my focus if I lean back or forward. And what I want to share with you today is a device that does exactly that. So what I have here is a little device from Lanparte, and this is a wireless LANC controller. Now, what this does is it'll interface with any camera that takes a LANC remote connection, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, and it allows you to wirelessly start and stop your camera. It's as simple as that. Now, this right here is the transmitter unit, but it also comes with a receiver end, an even smaller but very similar unit that you will then mount onto your camera and then use an included cable to connect into the LANC remote port on your camera. Now, like I said, LANC is an interface. Sometimes it's referred to as LANC, but I like to call it LANC. But it's an interface for remotely controlling certain cameras. So some cameras will have a LANC port or a remote port on them. Different brands tend to use different interfaces, but LANC is definitely one of the most common ones. The Blackmagic Ursa Mini that I'm shooting on right now has a LANC remote port. A lot of Canon camcorders, like my XF300, use LANC. And there are even some select Sony cameras and possibly some from other brands that use LANC. So if you have a camera that uses the LANC interface for remote control, this little unit will work for you. Now let's talk about what it does and how it does it. Like I said, it comes in a small little kit with everything you're going to need to get up and running. The very first part is this transmitter unit, and it's made of all metal, very simple, has a little antenna up top and just one big red metal button that says record. The next part is going to be the receiver unit. Receiver is also made entirely of metal, and it has a matching button on it there that says record, so you can even use this as a different record button directly on your camera. And it has a little red light up top to let you know when it's activated. Now, it has the LANC port here, this little connector, and it comes with two cables. One is a short LANC cable, and one is a longer coiled stretchy cable, so that if you need to get it a little bit farther away from the remote connection port on your camera, you can go ahead and do that. And they were also nice enough to include this little 15mm rod mounting bracket here, and it does have a 1/4 on it and a knurled nut. Now what I should mention is that both the receiver and the transmitter have 1/4 mounting points on the back of them. This means that you can mount both of these wherever you would like. Obviously the ideal spot would be to mount the receiver somewhere onto your camera, somewhere where one of the cables will reach the LANC port, but then you can either hand hold the transmitter or mount it wherever you would like. I end up usually hand holding it, slipping it in my pocket, and I can start and stop my camera when I'm either doing YouTube videos like this, or I used it quite a bit when I was at the NAB show in Las Vegas conducting interviews all on my own, so I could frame up and then start and stop the camera when I needed to. But this has various other uses. You can use this if your camera is mounted out of reach. Say you have it up high on a jib or a crane and you can't get up there to start and stop it. Hang on to this or mount this down to, next to your monitor down at the bottom, and you can start and stop your camera without having to start it and then send it up to its starting position. Another thing you can do is if you have your camera mounted on a gimbal system, you can go ahead and mount this transmitter right next to your handle on your gimbal, and then you can wirelessly start and stop your camera without having to set the gimbal down and do it manually. So there are lots of different ways that you can use this thing. Basically, any situation where your camera is out of reach and you want to be able to remotely start and stop recording, this is going to be the perfect device for just that. I'll put a link in the description below so you guys can go ahead and see if you're interested in purchasing this. Right now, they're about $59 on B&H, which I think is a great deal. There are lots of controllers out there, but some of them can get kind of expensive. And this one seems to be well made and I think is going to last me quite a long time. So if you guys are interested, go ahead and check this guy out. And please go ahead and check out all the other videos and reviews that I have here on my channel. I love sharing this kind of stuff with you guys. And go ahead and subscribe so that you can make sure that you're notified as soon as I have more reviews and videos coming out. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you later.